has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place, as opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not everybody started out in the same place, you understand some people need more. So we all end up in the same place, right? We are proud of the fact that equity is one of our guiding principles. Proud of the fact that we understand equality is important, but not everybody starts out on the same base. We see that people in our country are having an experience that is not equal. So when we talk about the work we are doing here together, it is recognizing that and being guided by this principle of what we must do in the spirit and in the interest of equity. To put equity firmly at the center of our economic policy. But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners.
How in the heck is this person running for president? Imagine having to listen to 4 more years of this nonsense. No substance, not an original thought in her brain, just a bunch of woke buzzwords talking in circles, a bunch of gobbledygook nonsense. But this isn't just gobbledygook nonsense. No, folks, this is communist gobbledygook nonsense. Because you see when they start talking about equity, when they start talking about everyone being on the same equal playing field and all of those other talking points, those are communist talking points. For those of you all who don't know, the simple definition of communism on Google, go Google it yourself, it states right here, communism is a type of government as well as an economic system, a way of creating and sharing wealth. In a communist system, individual people do not own land. Individual people do not own factories or machinery. Instead, the government or the whole community owns these things. Everyone is supposed to share the wealth that they create. Now, the only problem with communism is, you see how they say the government or the whole community owns these things? No, it's just the government. You own nothing, you will own nothing, and you will like it. That's what they say. You see, communism has failed time and time again. Some of your ancestors, some of your grandfathers, some of the people in your family have died fighting against communism. And it doesn't matter if your forefathers or the people who came before you are from Europe or that country or that country. People have died all around the world because of communism. They've died because of the after effects of communism. They've died fighting against communism, and communism is the last thing we need in America. But instead of just coming right out and telling you that they're a bunch of commies, they use these woke buzzwords like equity and all of that other nonsense. But speaking of wars and fighting against communism, remember back before Trump was elected the first time? Remember when they were, spreading all of this fear? They were fear-mongering, claiming that Trump was going to get us into all of these wars and all of these military conflicts. And then remember once Trump won, and then we had 4 years of peace, 4 years of no wars. Remember how that went down? And then remember how Biden came into office and then all of a sudden all of these wars broke out. It's funny because Biden winded up being guilty of half of the stuff that they accused Trump of doing or being. They accused Trump, claiming that he was going to do all of this, but none of it came true. Meanwhile, when Biden came into office, a lot of the stuff that they said Trump was going to do, Biden actually did. And, you know, Trump was actually speaking about this at his rally yesterday. I want you all to take a listen real quick.
Nowhere. A Trump victory will bring back leadership, competence, common sense, and strength to the Oval Office. That's what we had. We had no wars. We had no wars. Think of it. We had no wars. Remember when crooked Hillary Clinton used to say, he's going to get us into a war. Look at him. Look at his rhetoric. I said, no, my rhetoric's going to keep us out of wars. That's what happened. We had no wars. They didn't think about it. Putin would have never got in. Iran was broke. I told China, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from Iran, you're not doing any more business in the United States. And they didn't buy any. They didn't buy any. And we would have had to deal with Iran within 1 week after the election if the election didn't take that horrible turn. You know, we got millions more votes the second time than we did the first. The New York Times asked me, what happened the second time? I said, the second time we got like 10 million more votes, right? Oh, I never thought of that. The reporter said, oh, yeah, you're right, actually. Let's go to another question. But let's review Kamala's insanely liberal record. As a senator, she was ranked the #1 most radical left Democrat in the entire Senate. They say she made Bernie Sanders look like a moderate. He was unhappy with that today, did you see? He said, oh, no, I think I might have been more liberal than her. They were fighting over who's more liberal.
You know, a lot of people don't like Trump because some say he's arrogant. Some say he's a real asshole, if you will. But sometimes you need someone like that. You need someone firm. You need someone that's not afraid to speak their mind. You can say what you want about Trump and you can feel how you want to feel about what he says or how he says the things that he says. But there's no denying that the rest of the world respected, even if they didn't necessarily respect Trump as a person, they respected the fact that they knew he wasn't going to play around. They knew not to play games with Trump. And that's the type of leader that I feel like we need in office right now. Because the last 4 years have been crazy. They don't respect Biden. They don't think Biden will do anything to them. And I'm telling you right now, they feel the same way about Kamala. But Trump, the world, they were kind of scared of Trump. I mean, a lot of these evil dictators that we've heard about our entire life, they were bending the knee, willing to actually talk to Trump. And we didn't have this massive war in Ukraine. We didn't have all of this going on in the Middle East. So if anything, I think that's a good reason to support Trump because I'm about peace. I don't want all of these wars. And one thing about the wars that are raging right now, they're not going to stay contained forever. The war between Ukraine and Russia, that's not going to stay between Ukraine and Russia forever. And in many ways, half of the world's already involved in that war. And the war that's raging right now with Israel, that's not going to be contained to Gaza. It's already spilling out. It looks like there's about to be war with Hezbollah. There was a lot going on over in Israel and the Middle East today. So we need a leader that's about peace. We need a leader that's actively talking about ending these wars instead of talking about funding them. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.